lost in this little village here where I bought Carlos, and I'm going to tell you a story about how I got lost in a whorehouse. Now, I've been thinking about telling this story for a while, but it's always been so hard because, I mean, that's just the story. I got lost in a whorehouse. I'm also just realizing that this place is mostly destroyed now. None of it's actually here. There was a building here like a month ago. But anyways, yeah, I mean, that's just the story. I got lost in a whorehouse. But then I realized, like, what people really want to know is, like, hey, Prozzie, did you bang a whore? You know? That's what people want. Anyways, yeah, so I used to get, again, this is going to go back to my old Kaifeng days, 2013, 2014. And again, in my last story, again, you guys seem to like my bike vlog stories, so we're going to get back into that. And I don't know if you guys remember the two guys I mentioned from Kyrgyzstan. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Udik and Nudik. And there was another guy, I can't really remember his name, but he was a pretty good guy. And I used to hang out with them all the time because back then, like I mentioned in the other video, there were no foreigners in China except for us. These like two Kyrgyzstanian guys, and they spoke English. They were pretty nice, so I'd hang out with them sometimes. And there was one club called Coco Bar or Coco Club or something that we'd always used to go to, and they loved it. You know, they would go like every weekend after they were finished like riding their horses or whatever. Because again, these guys work for the circus, so it's gonna be really hard telling this story with all this interesting stuff around me. Can you guys see half that roof? I have to stop. Seriously, I could just make a whole video about being through, like going through this village, but I have to carry on with my story. So, anyways, we used to go to this club, and one night they were like, yeah, oh, brother, let's go to club. We get the ghettos. I was like, yeah, whatever. I was a young guy. I didn't have anything to do, really, in Kaifeng, because at that point I had explored most of it, and it was just kind of hanging out with people that at least spoke the same language, even though they had a totally different job than me. And so we went to the club, and I got wasted. Like, I'm not going to lie. I can't really remember that night particularly in the club, but I know there was a hell of a lot of vodka involved, them being from, Kyrgyzstan. After that, we get into a taxi, and I'm like, finally, guys, let's go home. Like, I'm beat, I'm so tired. I don't know, they're saying stuff. I'm so drunk I can barely even stand up, you know what I mean? So I just really wanted to go home. And so we're taking a taxi, I'm talking to them. Probably, I don't think they really could understand what I was saying. I was so drunk. We stop at this, like, dark alleyway where... God damn it. I'm gonna have to duck under here. So anyways, we stop. Oh, fucking vines. So we stop at this dark alleyway that's like goes up along the old city wall. Like again, I think I mentioned. I actually haven't mentioned this, but most ancient cities, especially ancient capitals, are all walled, and they're pretty well preserved too, which is pretty cool. And this particular alley was up against that old wall, and we walk up to this building, and I don't know what's going on. I'm like, guys, I just want to go home. Like, I thought maybe they had to pick something up before going home or something. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know where I was. It's just like in the movies when you're going to like a secret building, bangs on the door, you know what I mean? And like a little shutter opens up, and he looks at you, and then he opens the bigger door, but he has to open like 14 fucking locks first. Oh shit! The guy opens the door, and we get in. And there's like three of these obvious, like very, like the mafia here are not very conspicuous or inconspicuous, whichever one makes sense in that sentence. Like they were so obviously mafia, you know what I mean? Like pot bellies, fucking tattoos of dragons and shit all over their body. And they're speaking Chinese to the guy, like my friends are speaking Chinese to them, and I don't know what's going on. And it was like, I don't know how to explain it. It was like this room. If you've been to China, you know what I'm talking about. It's just a Chinese room, you know what I mean? White walls that are like black from just China being a dirty place. It was like, the guys in the stairs, they were watching like a fucking 10-inch TV, and there was like a staircase, right? And I'm like, guys, what are we doing here? And they're like, no problem, brother. Just calm down. Sit down. There's no problem. And I was like, all right, whatever the fuck, I don't know what's happening. I sit down, and then my buddy takes me over to this door. That's like almost like Harry Potter style, like it's under the staircase, but it's like it's not like Harry Potter's like cupboard. It's like a long ass room, you know what I mean? With like a dozen beds on either side, with girls sitting on each of them talking to each other, and I was like, that's when it hit me. That's when I was like, Jesus Christ, I'm in a fucking whorehouse with two Kyrgyzstanian horse riding circus performers and some mafia guys, which is where I really did not want to be. So he's like, pick one, whichever one do you want, brother. And I was like, guys, I really don't want to do this. And no one's gonna fucking believe me. That was the hardest part about telling this story, is I knew that no one was gonna believe me that I didn't pick one, and I didn't. Pretty much, here's what happened. One of them picked me, because I guess that's how business goes. Because, and no offense to these lovely, dignified ladies, but they looked awful. I mean, they looked awful. Some of them, like they were all like overweight. They were all wearing these like tight dresses that just looked, ugh. I mean, they just look awful, like ragged hair, like not prostitutes you'd imagine. Well, not like prostitutes that come up to you in Macau, you know? Those prostitutes are like gorgeous. And also Russian. But my point being is that none of them were good. The only like skinny one who also wasn't very good looking, she just wasn't overweight. This guy's listening to music and not, there you go. The only one, I remember she was wearing a pink tight dress. She's very skinny and not very attractive, and she just kind of casually gets up, you know, grabs a little like purse and takes me up the stairs, you know, and I'm like, I don't want to fucking do this. But again, this is back when I didn't speak any Chinese, so there's no real way for me to tell her that I don't want this, you know what I mean? Plus she's been paid for. So we go up like 3, 4, again, remember I was so drunk that I don't remember. We went 3, 4 flights of stairs, down a couple of hallways, and I gotta tell you, this place is like dimly lit, with either incandescent bulbs, is that what I'm looking for? And like red lights, like you would find in a dark room when you're, you know, developing photographs. So we're going down this thing, and she opens this door, and I start to realize at this point it's actually it's an old abandoned hotel room that they've converted into like their whorehouse. But it was disgusting. Like, at least in hotels, you have people that come and clean everything and change your sheets. This place was just like a hellhole. Oh my God, I want to go down there so bad. So we go in, and I sit on the bed, and she sits on the bed, and she's like, you know, motioning me to take my clothes off, and I was like, no, I can't. And I'm trying to get my translator on my phone because I can't communicate with her. There's nothing, like I can't. Oof, it's a hell of a attack dog you got there. Guess I'm not going in there. Yeah, I got you. I'm leaving. Back up, you fucking shit. I'm going, doggy. Guys, I am fucking terrified of animals. I'm gonna be honest with you. I have a turtle and I fucking hate it. Fuck off, dog. Fuck off. You've got pink eye. Conjunctivitis, dog. Fuck that dog. Anyways, what was I talking about, the whores or something? She's telling me to go slow. She probably doesn't want me to hit her puppies. Okay, well, the locals here want me to drive slow, and I will do that out of respect for them, because they probably have people flying around this corner all the time. They probably don't like that. So she's thinking that I don't understand what's happening. So she does this. It was the most, like, I might have to do this off camera. It was the most awkward thing. But she points at me. She's like, you? And then she points in between her legs. She's like, like this, and like makes the motion of getting shagged. And I was like, oh, sweet fuck. Another construction zone. Did I not say this in like my last video? So she gets her bag and she pulls out the condoms, and I'm like, no, I can't. Like, seriously. And not a lot of people are going to believe me. I know, I can just tell in the comment section right now. They're going to be like, Prozzie, you dog. We know you did it. No, I honestly could. One, even if I wanted to, I was so drunk, that probably couldn't. I think it would have been impossible for me. And two, if I was going to have sex with a prostitute, it would be one that's worth more than 200 RMB. So she just fucked off and left, right? And I'm like, well, that was an experience. Yeah. So I'm sitting in this fucking dark room on this hard-ass bed by myself, and I'm like so drunk, and I don't know what to do. So, I mean, I knew what to do. I was going to fucking leave, you know? And that's exactly what I did. But I realized that I had forgotten how I got in that room. And I'm like, fuck, I'm lost. I'm lost in a whorehouse. And I don't know how to get out. I just kind of turned right, and I remember walking down these hallways for probably 30 minutes until I could hear the faint but familiar voice of my Kyrgyzstanian circus performing friend plowing the shit out of some fat middle of China hooker. When that is a sign of comfort for you, that's how you know that your life has taken a very interesting turn. I remember because it's so embarrassing. I really didn't know how to get out of there. I knew there were stairs involved at some point, so I kind of like gently knocked on the door and sheepishly just went, Udik, and he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know how the fuck to get out of here. He didn't listen to me, and just kind of kept going. Eventually, I did end up making it out of there after like another 15 minutes of searching. And I get to the bottom of the thing, and they're like, "How was it, brother? You know, you went a long time." You know, little did they know at the time I was like literally actually just lost, wandering around the whole time. And I was like, "Yeah, guys, I didn't do it. I didn't do it." And they're like, "What?" Because they had already paid the mafia guys, and I'm like, I couldn't. You know what I mean? I don't do this. I don't do prostitutes. So they ended up talking to the mafia guys. And you know what the most amazing thing, well, not the most amazing thing, but what an interesting thing about the story is that they actually gave the money back, which I didn't expect. I kind of thought but they believed me, and they actually, I mean, obviously asked the prostitute. She's like, yeah, he didn't. But that's the thing, like, the lesson learned here about if you're going to, plan on living in China is prostitution here is rampant. People love their whores in China. Salarymen, husbands, I mean, people like to bang prostitutes. And I'm not saying everyone does. I'm just saying a lot of people do. And anyone that calls bullshit on that is either a Chinese nationalist or just has never been to China. But anyways, can you guys see the problem with this story, though? It's like just how anticlimactic it is. And that's why I didn't really want to tell it, because it wasn't really that interesting. I mean, it's interesting to me, because I guess I was in a whorehouse. But for you guys, you want to know, like, it caught fire, and then a helicopter came, and then I jumped on that helicopter and punched a whore in the face, and it was like this. But none of that didn't happen. I just literally got lost in a whorehouse, and that's it. So I apologize if you didn't find it interesting, but I do want to tell these stories about, living in Kaifeng like I used to, because I think they're pretty cool. My next one is going to be about how I shattered my knuckle. How I lost my knuckle. So stay tuned for that. That was going to be a lot more interesting in this one, I hope. But yeah, other than that, busy week. One of my videos actually ended up getting on the front page, of Reddit videos, which shocked me a lot. I really didn't expect it to happen. And it jumped from like 10,000 views to over 100,000 views now. And that brought on a lot of stuff that I didn't expect. A lot of people wanting to buy the footage or put the footage on some of their websites, and which normally I'd be cool with, but the issue is that video actually has my students in there. And when I first started filming the students, I mean, it was just kind of a fun project for me and them. They could play with the cameras, and it was like just an idea, and people can get kind of an inside look on what it's like to teach here, even though my job is fairly peculiar. When it got that big, I kind of had to ask myself, like, is this what I want for the kids? That much exposure. And after a lot of thinking about it, my answer was no. And so I don't think I'm going to be filming them anymore, just for that reason. I don't like having them out there. Not that, like, they're cool with it. They don't care about being on the internet. Their parents don't care. I mean, they're Korean and they're Chinese. And, I mean, not that privacy even exists here anyways, especially internet privacy. But I did ask them, and they were cool with it. But it's just, for me personally, I don't want that kind of exposure for them. It's not, I don't know. I don't think anything. It's not like I got 1 million views, but still, just as their teacher, it just didn't feel right. So I'm not going to be filming them, though. I think this will be my last clip you'll see of them. We were trying to, like, plant seeds of they're still ding-dongs. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. We've blasted past the 10,000 mark, and I think by the time this video is released, I might even have 14,000 subscribers, which is huge. Huge thanks to you guys who are sharing, liking me on Facebook, supporting me on Patreon. You guys are huge. As always, you guys know I say that every video, and I mean it just the same. I gotta go home, edit this video, grab some din. The fuck are you doing? And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Stay positive. Keep your stick on the ice. Have a good week.